Hey everybody, glad to have you. It is about, I don't know, 15 seconds till we get started here. And yeah, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're brand new here, let me know in the chat, either on YouTube or in Zoom. I'd love to welcome everybody that's brand new because, well, maybe this is the first time you've ever seen me. And, I'd like to share a little bit about my journey. Years ago, back when I was like 8 years old, third grade or so, I got involved in the stock market game in school. Back then, we used to fill out Scantron forms, like the old test things. You fill out the bubbles and mail in. We used to mail in our orders, and then a couple weeks later, you get back whether what your fill was, and you keep caught up with it then. And a friend of mine back then, he owned Coca-Cola stock, I think, or his parents, held it in his name. They paid him the dividend off of that. I was hooked, man. I had to figure out how this worked. Ever since then, been trying to figure it out, and turned 18 and opened a real money account. Then the real fun started, and somewhere along the way, I figured it out. And a friend of mine, Rob Booker, asked me if I'd like to teach other people how to do this back in late 2020. And then I was like, sure. And early 2021, I launched my full set of services. Well, we started out with Echo Trades in March 2021. So that's coming up as a 2-year anniversary that I've been doing this here in March. And, well, I haven't been doing lifelong guru stuff, so still a little new at that. Where is Booker? He is still in Houston, Texas. As far as I know, he's still running his own thing. As far as I know, he had a non-compete thing, but they worked through that, and he's working with, I guess, Stocks to Trade, maybe? Kind of, what's his name? Sykes. I was, first time I ever met Booker in person, I met Booker and Sykes together in Miami, Florida for a little promo type thing we were doing, and I guess, they're buddies and doing something together, so that's where Booker is right now. All right, let's get in on 30 Minutes of Awesome. So, was this a breakout or a fake out? I don't know. We're going to find out here. And we're going to see what happens next. I'll go through it. And then, as always, you pick the stocks. You let me know in the chat when we get to that part. And I will do as many of the charts as we can before we run out of time. Usually I cut it off at 30 to 45 minutes. That's why we call it the 30 Minutes of Awesome. So, let's actually jump into some information, shall we? First off, the most important thing. I've been harping on this since August back here when we did this rollover. We are breaking out of this purple trend line. Now, you may have gotten an email about this, getting you here today. Or is this the real breakout? Or is this a fake out? Well, we're about to find out. Right now, we have held above it for 2 daily closes now. That's positive. But 2 days does not make a new trend, as if you've been with me very long, you've probably heard me say that. A day or two does not make a new trend. We have to have continuation. Now, ideally, I want to see this pull back and retest. Now, what might that look like? Well, let's pull this over. We were talking about cold temperatures. So right here is the breakout. This is a 3-day chart of the S&P 500, SPX, right there in the middle. We're looking like we're going to break out right above this. Let me make this full size here. Break out, potentially run up to this fib. Or if you've been following me, you've seen the green chart. I'll pull it up here, or the green box. I'll pull up a minute. That's 4150 to 4300 on SPX. We'll probably make a run up there. Now, I'll make a couple cases here, and you have to make your decision. All right, we're going to go through several different things here. So this can run right up into that 4150 area to 4300 area, and back where we topped in August. And then we can roll back down, retest this breakout, and then launch off. Now, launching off gets us to a new all-time high. But we could just break down now and retrace to finish the correction that we started off this high in December when the CPI hit. Now, if we popped right here, we got some crazy rally in the next couple of days. You know what happens February 1st? The next FOMC rate change. That could lead us into the pullback. Now, that seems like an accelerated kind of timeline for this breakout. We only have 7 days left before that happens next Wednesday. So we'll have a real good idea when you come next week to the 30 Minutes of Awesome. We'll be able to talk about this much more closely on whether we're doing this or it looks like we're just going to flush down here. Now, these are the two most probable charts. I showed them last week, showed them again this week. But let's talk about a couple other things that I've kind of been working through in my mind. Now, if you watched my videos all the way back from early summer, like May and June, July timeframe, I was talking about how the recession was confirmed. Now, the government and the powers that be, they say we're not in a recession. So this not a recession that was confirmed. Well, we took a big down ever since like November of 2021. Now, S&P 500 top, January 5th, 2021, and we've been down ever since. And we bottomed right here. Now, just hang with me a second here on this, all right? Suppose, let's actually talk about this one first. Now, we usually get what's called a Santa rally, right? We usually get this bullish rally right into the end of the year. This is S&P 500 seasonality for the last 20 years. We usually see this, what they call the Santa rally. All right, that's historically what they're talking about. It kind of kicks off right at Black Friday and runs right into the end of the year with a little bit of chop, but it's pretty bullish. Now, we didn't get that last year, right? And then the other thing to think about is we usually continue that rally right on into the beginning of the month and then retrace. And then we get a little bit of February chop, and then we run, and then we retrace into March. So check this out a second. Bear with me a second. What if this was the rally that started in October instead of starting in November? We rallied right up to December. This was that little bit of chop that we usually see in January. We saw it in December. Now this is the February run. Then we could get that pullback and then the bigger pop. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. That we're maybe on an accelerated timeline here instead of being, and you can see the volatility usually drops into December. Well, we kind of had December volatility. And then we usually spike right there. Well, we kind of spiked in December. So maybe we drop off now and then we spike into March when we get that pullback. And running to maybe a month and a half early. So I don't know. It's just a working theory that I kind of, maybe we're doing this whole pattern a little bit early this year. And it started back here in October when we made the low. So just something to think about. Yeah. Could be late, but I'm leaning more toward early. So let's jump over mention the green box on the S&P 500, and that's on the daily chart here. So we pulled down, we found support right at that box, launched off with the blue arrow, had a little trouble getting through the roadmap line on the daily here. And if you were in Discord, I pointed out that we bounced right off the 4-hour back there on Friday, and we launched up. Kind of got a little mini retrace, running a little accelerated on my arrows here. So we could see a launch right up into this 4150 to 4300 green resistance box up here. All right, right now we're leaning bullish. Like this is an uptrend. This is bullish, and a lot of CTAs are neutral. I talked about this in the morning show. I've been doing a morning show. If you haven't been aware, on YouTube, I've been doing mornings. What's moving every morning? Come check me out. Come subscribe, get the notifications on YouTube, and come join us because we talk about what's moving on the day, and I talk about some of these interesting technical things that happen overnight. Now, speaking of the technical thing that happened overnight, last night I was looking at the 15-minute chart here this morning, and we saw this ABC structure right into the 15-minute roadmap line. And I actually have a little clearer picture of this right here off of Motive Wave. See, did the A, B, C, and it was to the 88.7. Didn't quite hit the 100%. This is a 30-minute time frame, so the 144 doesn't quite line up with that 15-minute. And I was predicting a launch off. Now, right after the close, we got some positive earnings from Microsoft, and we saw this spike come in. And of course, my ES chart is 10 minutes delayed, but we're still trying to break out of this orange box. This orange box, where does that come from? Well, go back up to the time frame, It comes from the consolidation we did all through December here. November and December. So we're still stuck in that range. We've been sideways for almost 2 whole months now. Stuck right there. A little spike out, a little spike down, but basically sideways. We break out, things can get spicy really quickly. NQ finally coming up and testing the roadmap line. We got that spike in reverse back here in December. Right now, we just came up and stopped. That's positive. Usually we see 2 or 3 days and then a pop through. That tends to be what happens. You can see right over here when we pop through. But what we need to see is continuation, not just a roll back over and back down through. So Russell not participating in this pop this evening, but it did bounce off the roadmap line to the upside. So it's already advanced in the count. It's already ahead of ES. It's already ahead of NQ. If you're not familiar with ES, that's S&P 500 futures. NQ is the Nasdaq futures, and this is the Russell 2000 futures right here. So why the futures? Because they don't leave gaps in the charts. Oil rolling off on the largest crushing Oklahoma build of oil storage since 2020, and that was like April 2020. So it dropped today. I don't know. But what I do know is gasoline breaking through the roadmap line. This set off some alerts yesterday and today. This is looking a little bullish here. Now, one thing to watch is the proportion here. Right there, coming up to 100%. Now, if this is bullish, we'll probably see an extension right on up to about 295 a gallon. Then get a retrace, and then the next move up, probably to 320 a gallon or so. And then we'll get a bigger retrace back to the roadmap line and potentially go higher from there. So keep an eye out on gasoline futures. This thing can turn bullish on us, even with oil being a little bit on the bearish side. All right, Bitcoin, big news, breaking out, potentially going to break out of this consolidation here and go much higher. 25,000 would be the next kind of resistance area right over here from back in August. We break up through that, and then it's going to move up to about 34,000 pretty quickly. There's not a ton of resistance between this 25,000 and up here around the 34,000. All right, that's kind of summarizes up everything. Let me grab some water. All right, now on to your requests. So let me knock this chart out of my way here. Let me see the chat. All right, looks like we got a bunch of requests going here. So NG1, natural gas is going in the toilet. Almost to the, this is a bullish to the bear side, bullish to the downside target right there. We might get a little retrace up here back to about 430, and then probably going to make an extension lower on natural gas. So got a lot of new gas supply coming in line. If we do get that polar vortex I was talking about to the Zoom crowd before we went live on YouTube, we could see natural gas prices spike like they did last year in March, but we're at a much lower level right now than we were last year. So, all right, RACE. Yeah, that's hitting a target. It can extend up to this 260 area. And let's see, MSFT, I know this one's kind of getting spicy here with the earnings popping off. Let's clean up the chart just a touch because these fib lines don't mean much right now. What we have and what I want to see is Microsoft breaking above this 264, 265 area right in there. Now, right now we're just getting up to the roadmap line at 252.87 after hours. So what we need to see is that break on up here, get a nice close up there, and then we can look for a continuation higher. It's got a long way to go back to the top. This was a heck of a downtrend. If you look right here, this also, so we need it to get up there out of this downtrend. All right, moving on. Let's see, Mora looks pretty dang good for about $12. Let's see, zoom in. So what we got, this $12 area right here where resistance is. Now why $12? Well, look right over here. See these highs? Right back over here. And right where that trend line hits. If I can draw a straight line. Yeah, $12, $13 right in there. So that's my target right now. It's right in that zone. And that could make a potential head and shoulders turn point for a retrace and then a breakout higher. If we just bust on through, well, this thing's going to go full bull squeeze mode. And we can see a rally like we saw back here, only it could go much higher on this potential run with Bitcoin actually moving up off the lows. All right. FCX, I talked about that this morning. You should probably go listen to what I said this morning, but it is consolidating right here at the target. Big picture, I kind of expect a retrace, but if copper goes full bull, this thing can break right on out and reach these extension goals up here at 59 and 68. All right, let's see. I see Amazon, AMZN has not been participating in the rally that we saw yesterday, and it's kind of stuck on this trend line. If this thing can break out through this trend line, it's got some catching up to do. It's been running behind. You know, we were just showing how Nasdaq was up at the roadmap line. This one's running behind, so this one can get back up in this 110 area pretty quickly. I still have this summer target for about 140 to 160 out here in June and July. That's where my position is. Yeah, right there. I got the vertical line. I'm looking for this thing to get bullish and rally up here. All right. Did race UPS. Had some crazy price action this morning on that morning volatility, it looks like. And just stuck at the roadmap line. That's a big sideways for right now. Until it can break above right up here, we're probably not looking super bullish. Now, if FDX also been having a tough time. So they made their low back here, been on an uptrend. They've got this gap to fill right there. That'll be the real test. Like, they've got big resistance right up there, right up there where that gap, where they just fell when they crapped the bed and fell out here to the lows. So, LEV. Well, I put a big down arrow on there. So as long as it's below the roadmap line, that's still bearish. Lower prices. All right, LCID is looking like garbage. Hate to tell you, that looks like garbage. NIO looks like garbage too, without even pulling it up. Crazy candle today, but still, it's just consolidating sideways. Spiked up, dropped down. That was part of the New York Stock Exchange chaos this morning. So hard to do much with that candle. OXY is just consolidating. Another one. Like, lots of these have a crazy candle from this morning's volatility, closing right at the roadmap line. So that did hurt the price of OXY just a little bit. All right, Netflix has been looking pretty bullish here. Broke out. And we do have some resistance here, but the next move I expect really is for it to fill that gap. You know, the first surprise, we lost a crap ton of subscribers that it did back here in early 2022. That gap down, I expect that to fill. So we filled this one down here. That's what that black line is coming across here. We broke out of it finally. Was that Thursday? I think it was. So I expect this to rally right on back up to about 510 in the next couple months, and probably might be able to do it before April. So we'll keep an eye on that one. That one could be a big gainer right there. 346 up to 500-ish. I mean, that's what, 50% gain almost? So that's pretty good. All right. JPM has been looking a little rough. Trouble getting out of here. Hit the extension there and retraced and just sideways. Could use a little deeper retrace, and it might do that since we got... Let me zoom it up here. Remove this fib off of here. Come on, delete. There we go. You see this little move right here? We did right there. If we do a second one of those, the same size, puts us right at the roadmap line. That's kind of what I would expect to happen. If we can do that, then we can get a, you know, that's about that same size right there too. Let's see. Compare that. Instead of using the fib tools, we'll just use the graphic tools. Yeah, about the same size. That pullback and this potential pullback somewhere in this 130, 131 area, 132. If we can get to there, then we can get the next leg up, you know, which I wouldn't expect a ton more than that size move right there. So 147, 148 on the upside. All right, and then IVS looks like, yeah, garbage, sideways garbage. All right, NVIDIA, I am super bullish on, super bullish, long shares, looking for this mega move all the way back up here to about 320. And that may, like, these arrows are like aggressive. It may take out into the late summer for this to happen. Like, we're going to get a pullback somewhere in here. So that's what I expect on NVIDIA. Now, they are riding the AI revolution, like the more chat GPT, GPT-3, Google's, whatever they call it, I can't even remember, the Lambda, whatever, AI. You know, Microsoft investing in OpenAI, Google's thing, and Apple has their own little project going too. The more of these that are put online, the more GPUs and chips are going to be needed. And NVIDIA and AMD both kind of have the I guess the chips to support that kind of research and programming. So AMD just hitting the roadmap line. So NVIDIA a little more bullish, but this one I do expect to come up to this 90 area, then possibly up to this 100 area where we had this like a little bit of a lower double top situation. If we can get up in that zone, probably retrace and then potentially break out higher. So right now that's my target though, right around 90 to 95 right now on AMD. All right, MSFT already went through. MPC, crazy candle today. I don't even know how you deal with that right now. Like, thank you New York Stock Exchange for messing up a bunch of charts. So looks like it hit the target and almost retraced the roadmap line all in one day. Yeah, so there was a technical glitch on the New York Stock Exchange. 251 affected stocks. Basically, the opening auction that sets the open price never happened, and orders just started flying, and crazy orders that were high and low just started filling, and they had to trip the limit up and down circuit breakers on 251 stocks. And they've published a list of those 251 stocks and the range that trades are acceptable. And if you have a trade that was placed outside of that range, then you can file a what do they call it, Chapter 18 claim, and for an invalid trade, and get your money back. So if you were affected by that, either stopped out or lost money, maybe go check that out. So all right, BMO. That's up above the trend line. This is the first positive sign. Now we do still have this high. Then we've got this high. So we've got resistance stacked against it. That's the first positive sign. It's breaking above the trend line, breaking above that 101, 102 area, and then 105 above that. Can finally get this thing maybe heading upwards instead of downwards. All right. Let's see. I did Netflix already. AON. Looking like it's on the way to the target here. Target's right up there. 350. That was the pullback, and this thing is, I mean, that's a conservative entry right in this zone. Looking for about a 350. Now, a little more aggressive, you could go for like 365, but 350 is a pretty good target right there. All right, GILD is looking like it's going to retrace a little bit more before it can go higher. looks like it needs one more push down here. So, like I was talking about a little bit earlier, that first move and the second move, looks like it needs to come down to about $80 to find support. Now it can just launch off from where it is and go higher. And the break above this, say 88 area, would indicate that it was going to go higher. And the target would look something like this, 91, 94 on the upside there. And then square is another one that I am quite bullish on. Look at that baby go. It may retrace back to the roadmap line here before it can do the next push. I'm looking for a retest of this 95 area in the next couple weeks, next couple weeks. And then if we can break out over 95, that sets us on a path to go back up to 200. So this is kind of the more conservative pathway where we make a high, retrace, make a high, retrace, make a high. And that could take a while, or we could just go super bull, break out, and rally higher very quickly. So we're right on that precipice of breaking out, and it's all kind of like S&P 500, all those stocks, like right on that trend line. If we can confirm the breakout and really start squeezing higher, this thing's going to run like a mad beast. And Square, Nvidia, some of my favorite picks. AMD, Amazon. Actually, if it can break out of the downtrend line, I'm quite bullish on that one too. So Chubb looking like it's probably coming up to, yeah, finding trouble getting through that 1272. Had that big pullback through most of 2022 and finding resistance at that 231 price. If it can break up through that, the next one up is 247. All right. Then MNST. Monster. Got my monster right there from this morning. Looking like bullish. I have a target up here around 112. This is like a wave 4 consolidation right here. The next push higher puts it right up to 112. That's LE wave target right there. All right. Hey, you want to see the bulldozer? Right there. Working on it. It's getting done. All right. And CVNA. Looks like garbage. That's going out of business. Pretty sure. All right. Roblox RBLX. I think I got popcorn seeds stuck in my tooth. That's why I keep licking my tooth there. Roblox is stuck in a downtrend. That would be a bearish chart. And looks like yeah, there we go. Bearish. That's all I gotta say about Roblox. It's bearish until it can get back up above the roadmap line. Back, it's gonna have to be back up here. See where it double topped right here. Gotta break through that $46, $47 area. All right, yeah. Somebody super awesome gave me that bulldozer, and yeah, it's not done yet. I mean, it's a work in progress. It's got a whole engine in here and everything. It's pretty cool. Doesn't have the blade on it yet. Doesn't have the tracks on it yet. The cab, like, it's got 2 books that are like 500 something pages long to put it together. It's crazy. Anyway, get me off track here. Let's see. Back to it. AA. Yeah, we got nice potential bounce above the roadmap line there. Extensions. Let's delete that. Right there. Doesn't mean anything right now. This one, let's see. That move up, retrace. Yeah, the neck, like, if this is going bullish, right up here at about 69, it may do a pullback in between here. 69, then we'll get another pullback about like this, and then we'll get this move up once again right here. Oop, that was crazy. That was not what I tried to do. This one, put it up to right about 80. That's AA for you. Crap ton. Yeah. MA, MasterCard. It's working on being bullish. It's been sideways. Like, it didn't really suffer as bad through 2022. It just went sideways. So it is broken above its downtrend line here. Popped above, retest. This is like kind of what I'm looking for on S&P 500. Break above, retest, and start launching out. It had big volatility today, but that next move out can take us, let's see, where's the high? Well, that's pretty much the high right there. The next move out can take us up to about 431 to 473 on MasterCard. I did AMD, LVS, trying to catch up with everybody. All right. LVS hitting the target. I'd watch out for that retrace. All right. And let's see. Go back to that. There, you got my. Should have my camera. Let's see. AA did that one. VITFF. I'm not even sure what that is. VITFF. That's just along for the gold ride, looks like. That's got resistance right here. It's one I've never even heard of right there. Coming up into that resistance right there. SCCO. That one looking a little crazy. Double top. It doesn't have any meaningful pullbacks, so that's kind of tough to predict there. Southern Copper. If copper breaks out, that's probably going to run with everything else. I talked about this morning. ETHE. And depends on which one you're talking about. I guess the OTC one looks bearish to me. If Ethereum itself breaks out, I don't know what just happened. Awesome. If this thing can get its act together, break out of this junk, we can see some higher prices. Now, the ETHE was not, I mean, it was down here, so it's not following with Ethereum here on the potential breakout higher. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're risk on ETHE, I would be freaking cautious. It needs to catch up. Ethereum's got this resistance right up here at 2,000. Above that, it's probably going to go back to this $34 price, $3,400 price up here. All right, SLB. SLB. Come on. Everything's going haywire all of a sudden. Yeah, that's right up to the target on that spike. So watch out. That one can retrace right back down to the roadmap line here. Schlumberger. All right. Red Bull, I don't think is public. NEM. That's looking nice. It did spike up and close. Like, that's another victim of the stupid market hiccup this morning. Gold is my pick. Like not gold metal, but gold Barrick mining right here. This is my favorite. I have $23 call, $22, it's either $22 or $23 calls out to January 24. Can't remember which one it is. I can get all my numbers messed up. I think it's $22 calls out to January 2024. So that one is on a bullish breakout. I mean, we've been looking for this to go, and it's finally looking like it's turning here. So potential is great on this one. We do have resistance coming up here at 21 though, so right where it consolidated before. Watch that right there, that zone. coming up to it. So if we can break above that, it's game on. Looking for higher prices like 29, 33, and then those bigger, I don't even know, the bigger potential targets even further up there, like 35, 39. So, all right. GLD is right there. Looking like it's breaking above, and 204 would be the upside target. And that one is above that resistance gap thing, like where it gapped down. Getting right above it, so game on for gold. GPC. No, GPC. Get my fingers there on the right keys. That is a classic roadmap retrace right there. Let's talk about this one a second, because this is a good opportunity into the summer. If we pull back up, you see where it consolidated right here? It's funny how the 618 always lines up with a consolidation. If we break out above that 179, probably coming up into this zone right up in here. All right. X. Everybody's full of tickers today. X is looking super bullish, breaking above. These things right over here, when it poked above here, retraced, that was like game on. It's probably going to return to the high up here around 39. It does, like, there's not a big consolidation at this 618. So it looks like that can just flow right on up here to 39, especially if everything starts, if the news starts getting positive again on the economy. Like, this sucker's going to lead the way, and once all the mainstream media starts talking about how great it is, then it's going to retrace. So, all right. QS QuantumScape is pretty bearish, still below the roadmap line. They need to actually get some products out. Like, I mean, they've got some tester batteries and whatever, but you know, they need a major auto manufacturer or something to pick them up, and like, we're putting it in 9 gazillion cars. So AGRI, again, that looks pretty bad. That's my methods do not work the best on stuff that's under like $3. Like, it has a tough time when we get down into low dollar amounts. So just a warning. I already did OXY. IPX. I don't know what that is, but that looks horrible. I don't know or is that LPX? LPX maybe? If you use capitals, it helps me. That's just sideways crap. Like, more of that's what I would expect. Can it break out of that? Yeah, but look, I mean, it's been sideways, slightly downtrending crap for a while. Nothing great there until it gets out of that downtrend. All right, AAL, I see. Right there's my wild guess on AAL. That was a Head and Shoulders. Popped up, retrace, the next pop, take us right up in, potentially up to 20. So, HUT gonna break out? That's a good question. Sure looks like it. Right up to the roadmap line. We rejected back here in August. Didn't even make it right here in November. Can we break out? That's a good question. And had a little hiccup there. So can we break out? If we get above that roadmap line and above, say, 250, see where we topped? We double topped there. Topped right here. Topped right there. Come across that. Break out above 250. Game on. And of course, we do have the resistance right there at 375. So these are positive. One that I mentioned a couple weeks ago, BTBT, when I was buying it at $1.10, whatever. Look at this, getting close. We got alerts for $1.48 today. So coming up into that roadmap line. This one has resistance right up here at this 2 to 230 zone. We break through that. This one can get really bullish. On the bigger time frame, the weekly time frame, this thing has a giant 1-2 type setup. I gotta turn on the log chart for it. Rezoom it. This is a big 1-2 potential setup. And 3, just if it was a bearish pattern. Look at this, wave 3 would take us potentially up to the $61, $62 area on the next move. Right there. Now you might say, that's crazy, right? Well, it was worth it to buy a, I think I have 1,100 shares at $1.15 or something like that. So I'm just gonna let those ride for now. If we start rolling over at the 2, I might sell them, buy them back when they dip, but that's a crazy pattern right there. Big potential, especially with Bitcoin halving coming up in 2024. So, all right. And XOM, I see just a couple more and we'll wrap it up here. Yeah, that one's right up to that 1272 from that pullback. It can push up to 121-ish. Of course, that volatility today kind of already hit that, so we could get a pullback on that. And it looks like it pulled back, pulled back to the roadmap line, hit the target. I don't know. I'm going to need to see a couple more days of price action on XOM to see where the devil it goes from here. So, and the XOP. And the XOP right there, just chopping sideways. That's a lower high and a higher low. So we've got watermelon seed squeeze type situation. Cautious. All right. BTCS and BT. Where's the B? Put my fingers on the right keys. CS. Stuck at the roadmap line and that consolidation right. Oh man, look at that. Get this consolidation right over and stuck right there. If we get above $2, it could move on up. It's got a lot of crap though. A lot of history of crap. Got a lot of history in this zone. I don't know. That looks like they make any money. Lose money. Lose money. Lose money. I wouldn't bet much on this. It's a kind of a crap company. Looks like they lose a lot of money. So, all right. Yeah, I flipped to the 1 week and back to the 1 day. So, all righty. That's going to be 30 minutes awesome or 45 minutes awesome. So, hope you had a good one. I'll be live again tomorrow morning doing a pre-market what's moving. I'll try to come up with some interesting stuff as usual. We'll check out what's moving and what's hot, what's not. Drink my Monster in the morning, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks everybody for coming. See you around.